The wind howled across the desolate mountains, carrying with it the faint scent of rain and rust. A convoy of heavy trucks crawled up the gravel road, their engines echoing through the valley. Inside the lead vehicle sat foreman Mike Jensen, a man whose hands bore the marks of years spent underground. The job was simple, or so they thought. Reopen an abandoned mining tunnel sealed off more than a century ago. But as Mike looked at the towering cliffs ahead, an unease stirred in his gut. The tunnel had been closed for 120 years, its exact location hidden beneath layers of rock and forest. Only recently had the mining company rediscovered it through old blueprint. The papers called it Section 13, a shaft sealed with concrete for safety reasons. But rumors among the old miners told a different story of whispers beneath the mountain, of men who never came back. After days of drilling and clearing rubble, the crew finally stood before the massive concrete barrier. The air smelled metallic, and the vibration of their drilling rigs echoed like thunder inside the mountain. Dust filled the air, swirling like ghosts in their floodlights. Mike gave the order to continue, his voice steady despite the tension in the air. Then, with a deep metallic groan, the drill broke through. A rush of cold, stagnant air burst out from the crack, thick with the scent of decay and something ancient. The men fell silent. For the first time that day, no one spoke. Mike grabbed his flashlight and stepped toward the opening. "All right, let's see what's been hiding here for 120 years, he muttered, his voice muffled through the respirator. The light from their helmets pierced through the darkness, revealing a passage coated in soot and mineral dust. Every footstep crunched against gravel and old debris. They advanced carefully, their boots echoing off the stone walls. Soon, their beams of light caught sight of something metal. Rusted mining carts lay overturned, half buried in sand. Wooden crates were scattered around, stamped with faded symbols. Mike crouched to inspect one. His flashlight caught the faint outline of a red skull marking. The warning symbol was unmistakable. "Dynamite," he whispered. The others froze. These explosives had been unstable for decades, maybe longer. One wrong move and the entire tunnel could collapse again. The team moved slowly, weaving past the crates, every step deliberate. Further ahead, the tunnel split into two paths, one narrow and steep, the other wide and partially blocked by fallen rocks. Mike chose the wider one. As they cleared the debris, he noticed deep gouge marks along the stones, as if someone had struck them repeatedly with tools. "Wait a second," Mike said, brushing the dust off a nearby wall. "These aren't from the collapse, they're from inside." The realization sent a chill down his spine. Someone had tried to break their way out. He called for more light, and the men lifted their lamps toward the blocked passage. For a moment, all they saw was rough stone until the dust settled. And that's when Mike saw it. Behind the wall of collapsed rock was a small hollow space. The beam of his light slipped through the cracks and illuminated something pale, something human. Mike stumbled back, his breath catching. "Oh my God." Inside the sealed chamber, pressed against the rocks, were skeletal remains. Not one but several. For a long moment, no one spoke. Only the soft hum of their headlamps filled the silence. The skeletons lay slumped together, their bones tangled among rusted tools and what looked like tattered cloth. One of the helmets still bore the faint emblem of the old mining company, a relic from another century. Mike swallowed hard, his flashlight trembling slightly in his hand. "Everyone, step back," he ordered quietly, though his voice cracked. They cleared more of the rocks, widening the gap. As the chamber opened up, the awful truth came into view. There were makeshift shelters built from wooden planks, rusted cans of food, and the skeletal outlines of bedrolls. These men hadn't died instantly. They had waited. "Jesus," whispered one of the younger workers. They were alive down here." Mike's heart pounded in his chest as realization sank in. These miners had been trapped when the tunnel collapsed, trapped and forgotten. Yet something didn't sit right. The collapse was too clean, too deliberate. He ran his hand along the inner wall again, tracing the strike marks. They weren't caused by falling rock, they were from tools, mining picks. Someone had sealed this passage from the outside. Later that day, investigators and forensic experts arrived. Floodlights lit up the mountain entrance, and the area buzzed with activity. News spread quickly in an unearthed tunnel, human remains, and the dark shadow of corporate greed buried beneath the earth. Inside the chamber, a historian studied the remnants of the miners' camp. "This wasn't an accident," she said grimly. "They were entombed alive. Records from 1903 revealed everything. The original mining company had known about the collapse and the trapped men, but when engineers estimated the cost and danger of the rescue, the executives decided it wasn't worth it. Instead, they ordered the tunnel to be sealed completely, with concrete, claiming it was too unstable to reopen. They had left those men to die in the dark. One of the documents found near the bodies was a rusted tin plate etched with crude handwriting. It read, "They said they'd come for us. The air is thin. Tell my family I tried." Mike read it aloud under the floodlights, his voice breaking mid-sentence. Around him, even the most hardened workers fell silent. It wasn't just the discovery that haunted them, it was the weight of knowing that people had once been buried alive for profit, their cries sealed beneath stone and silent. By dawn, the site had been declared a memorial. Flowers and candles appeared at the tunnel's mouth, placed by locals who'd heard the story. Reporters called it the lost mine of Adu Ridge. But for Mike Jensen, it wasn't just another job or another mystery solved. It was a reminder that sometimes history isn't buried by time, but by choice. As the last light of day faded behind the mountains, he turned to his crew and whispered, "Let's make sure they're finally heard." And for the first time in 120 years, the mountain was silent but not forgotten.